All right, welcome back to the Crypto Bunker podcast. And let me just tell you guys, I'm going to go a little bit off the cuff today, as always. And I am bullish on crypto long term. Okay. I'm bullish. So just remember that. None of this is financial advice, but I am just bullish on the innovation, everything that's happening in the space. It just brings me hope for the future. And we have the SEC coming after us, we have the government coming after us, but there are positive signs that are happening within the crypto market right now. And there's positivity in the regulatory front a little bit as well, because Gary Gensler has sort of pivoted. He's saying he's pivoting to AI, apparently. And so he's being a little bit strange, to be honest. And it's it's interesting. He's saying that he's pivoting from crypto to AI in terms of regulation. So I think essentially what he's saying is that he's kind of giving up, and he's saying, "Oh, it's not about crypto." And he's going to sort of just let it go at this point. Now, there are certain coins and stuff that I'm sure they're still going to go after, but I don't think they're going to go after the big players like Ethereum, Bitcoin, um, Solana, people like that. I don't think that that's what's going to happen, because they obviously went after Hex, um, but that's a good thing. So anyway, what am I sharing here on my screen? This is the Optimism mainnet active user count. This is actually all the stats surrounding Optimism. Okay. Um, so I just wanted to take a look at this. This is something I use. It's token terminal. Um, you can look at any project, and you can use many of these cool features they have that allow you to see what's going on. And if you can see this, I mean, what we have is um, a beautiful looking active user count, and also a beautiful looking fee market, which is continuously really generating a lot of good things. We can also look at the total value locked and different things on layer twos. Um, OP mainnet right now is doing 7.9 transactions per second. So that's an issue. And, the people at Ethereum know that. Um, but right now we have almost 3 billion locked within the market. And that's just on Optimism mainnet. If you look at Optimism on Coinbase's chain base, which is kind of has gone live, and you can see the total value locked is going up exponentially. They haven't really even like advertised it or like done like a full live. We also have Mantle. Um, and so, we can see that the OP stack is basically being used more than any other layer two stack. Okay. So basically I'm showing you this because I am bullish, very bullish on Optimism. And I'm a continuous accumulator of Optimism. We can see, even if you look at the monthly instead of the daily, this is the chart of the monthly active users, and it's just going exponential. We have 1.5 million users active monthly in the past 365 days. And just for comparison, let's look at Ethereum. Um, and we can do the same thing. We can look at the active users monthly 365. It actually hasn't gone necessarily up. It's kind of just gone sideways. But there is 4.8 million active users monthly on Ethereum. So pretty big number. Now if we look at the chart of Optimism, the chart it looks really good to me. The chart certainly looks good. And before we go on, yeah, let me just make sure that I have my screen's correct here. I apologize. Okay. So what we're looking at here with Optimism is pretty much a huge wedge that's being formed here. Um that um that when it breaks, it could be an accumulation all the way through here. Um, and it could even extend after that because I do think there's some macroeconomic headwinds. I am bearish on the stock market. I'm bullish on gold, bullish on silver because of that. I do think rates will come down, but they may not. It may be maybe stagflation, which is high inflation or higher for longer inflation and a struggling consumer. Now, if we look at the weekly moving averages here on Optimism, we do have a rejection here. And this candle does not look great to me. Because we have a shooting sort of star pattern or a doji. Now this could change within the next day or so if we get a pump coming in, but either way, I really just like the formation of the chart. We continuously see higher highs and higher lows, and so the next move should technically be a higher high. If we do a fib retracement, we could see that, we probably at least want to run to like $10. Now that's obviously sounds like a lot, but I also think there's some cool things that we can potentially do. If we just have this down here, right, and we say, okay, this is a logarithmic time frame, and let's just assume that this thing, is just at the beginning of a massive cycle that we can't even predict. And we actually maybe can predict it because it's an Ethereum based layer 2, right? So it's built on top of Ethereum. So what can we go off of? We can go off of Ethereum from the early days. Now I think I use the Kraken for this, so you can see this is kind of where I'm going with this. You can see sort of the similar nature. Let's see if we can copy and paste this. And then we can throw it on the Optimism chart, which again should be down here. And so this is kind of what I think we're looking at. I know it's not a perfect thing, but if you kind of, bear with me here, you can sort of see how we had this when it started out. We had it do the similar move. I mean, if we look at, we start here, we go up, make a higher high. We have this rolling correction. Okay, it took a little bit longer for this one, but you can see what I'm saying when this sort of is a similar looking correction here. And what we can see is that we are on a path now to going completely parabolic and ending around $120 Optimism. So we're looking at a potential 100x here. I know that may sound crazy. It's probably not possible. I get that. I do understand the market cap, all of that stuff. But if we think about, okay, so the fully diluted market cap is $7.18 billion. So if we take that into account and we say it's going to 100x, we could say that would be 700 billion at the top, which if you think about it, is not completely inconceivable if you consider that Ethereum could make a move to around, say 33,000, which is going to be around 3 trillion. So if you think Ethereum can do a 20x from here, or like a 30x from the bottom, and last time it did like I think a 50, almost a 50x. So we'll say it's diminishing returns, and we'll say that it will actually do a 30x this time instead of a 50x, okay? Then what we're looking at potentially is a $3 trillion asset, okay? Now, if we have a $3 trillion asset and we have a layer 2 that, let's just assume, is the top layer 2 on Ethereum, which I think it will be because Coinbase is building on it. They're bringing in companies. It's a publicly traded company. You have WorldCoin building on it, which is bringing in millions of users every day, even regardless of what you think about it. It's bringing in tons of users. And then, so you have those two sort of big forces, and like Sam Altman with ChatGPT. So he's technically building on Optimism. You have Coinbase building on Optimism. And Coinbase is like going to contribute to the DAO. They're going to buy back fees, and I think they're just going to like buy the OP token, and I mean on the back end basically, by contributing to the community fund to fund public goods, which is basically what Optimism coin is for the most part. It's like a collective. So that's another thing that like I get people that wouldn't be into it because like, OP is dumping on your head every now and then, like they're selling the token, but the user growth is just going exponential. So I think it's actually just going to get even crazier. I keep looking at the daily users and they just keep going up 1,000 every day, 2,000. It just continuously goes up. The fees are going up. The revenue is going way up. I mean, everything's going up. So yeah, we're basically looking at a potential here of a massive market move. I also like to compare it to the Chainlink move, because this is sort of what Chainlink looked like as well. And I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think in this region is this is sort of equal market cap of what it looked like. So if you look at this and then you copy it, bring it over here, paste it, you can see that it's I mean, this is the thing is technologies, especially crypto, there's really no prior technology stock or anything to compare these things to, right? So if we're comparing it to something, it really, I mean, think about the traders, right, who are trading this. They have to try to trade it based on some old pattern or something. So, how are they doing that? Well, they're potentially looking at similar crypto projects that basically have traded in the past, and Chainlink fits that bill, and it really is sort of a similar story potentially, because Chainlink did really well in a bear market, right? So in the bear market, it made a run within this time frame. Really, it was launched in the bear, and this whole run all the way up to through here, you could even argue that this is where Optimism is. It's sort of similar there as well. But throughout this whole thing is really where it ran. And Optimism is in a position to do that because, again, the user adoption is going exponential. so it's happening. It's currently happening that this technology is being adopted. Coinbase is having a on-chain festival with free art and music and Coca-Cola and all these sponsors and companies and stuff. I think they could even potentially, when the next EIP goes through, so that's a big deal as well, is that I think it's called EIP 4844, if that's right. Proto 48, yeah, Proto Dank sharding. So Proto Dank sharding is a new kind of transaction type to Ethereum, which accepts blobs of data to be persisted in the beacon node. So basically roll-ups, low fees, basically what's happening is that these are going to scale massively. So right now, I think we looked at it before, but we saw that it's only 8 transactions per second. Transactions per second. Yeah. So it's really slow. It's only 8 per second. But it's going to be able to get to hopefully thousands to millions with this new update. So it's going to be insane. And it's coming at the end of the year, the new EIP. So it's not that far away. I do think there's room in the next 6 months to a year for a serious bear market. I think we could revisit the lows on some of these. I think it's just a good time to be accumulating. But I am not going to say that that's a guarantee. I really don't know. This is like the most unsure sort of that I've been, because I know that there is this like mass adoption potential coming, but I also see the charts I don't really like. We haven't been able to get above 2,000 for Ethereum. We haven't been able to get above 30K very often for Bitcoin. And those are really key levels. And so I'm just nervous that we're sort of rolling over, right? And if stocks roll over, we can look at that as well. But this is kind of a rounded top, almost a head and shoulders, if you look at it diagonally, which I think would put us around the 12. I mean, my prediction is to put us back around 1250, 1280. That's a really key level for me personally. And so I do think we revisit that high $1,200 area. And yeah, it could happen, soon. It could happen next week. And again, I think that, that's just another kind of example of a time where you would want to be accumulating. And if we look at this chart, let's see if we can match this up. See, now that's something, right? I mean, that's kind of cool to see that if you match up this low with this low, we still haven't hit it, right? And you really do want to hit it. You didn't hit it here. And it's kind of a similar wedge where it rallied. So we rallied, and now comes the hard part, potentially, right? I think in crypto, this is really the only thing you can do for chart analysis is to go by the past. And if we look at the past and we look at this, we can see we came up, bam, bam, same thing, straight down to the floor, rally, rally, correction, correction, rally, rally. And now this one was sharper. This is sort of a flattening, sort of rounded out. And we just can't seem to find what we need here. But I do think that the fact that there's so much ETH being staked, that I just think the market is I don't think it's actually going to be very volatile. So that's kind of where this target really actually does come into play. Um, because it really wouldn't be that much of a correction and it'd probably freak everyone the hell out. And so I think that's basically what we're looking at here, on ETH. If we could just say like, let's see if we can just kind of something like this maybe. It sort of actually does look pretty similar to what we're looking at there. So something like this for ETH, I would not be surprised. Actually, that'd be perfect. This would be perfect. That would be the wouldn't that be perfect? I mean, a big sharp correction, freak everyone out, rally and actually squeeze everyone all the way up and then dump through the floor. And it would shake everyone out. I mean, it would be amazing. And this is why you cannot use leverage in these times, in my opinion. I could see like, hey, if the market just goes to the moon, then hey, you just have your spot position. That's fine. But the reason you don't use leverage is, first of all, I mean, the macro economy is just a shit show. I wouldn't want to be caught, on the wrong side right now. You probably just shouldn't use leverage ever, really, in any scenario. But you know, I mean, what I want right now is I actually want people to get liquidated hardcore. And this would do it. And I think that's what we need to really move forward, to just squeeze everyone, to the gills basically there and hit the next bull, and then there we are, right? There we are at 30K. And that would really be the perfect, really the perfect scenario in my opinion. And there we are. And so, this is the scenario that I could see playing out for Ethereum. And that's really what I'm concerned about right now. I'm not really concerned with Bitcoin. I'm personally more bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum is a smart contract platform. Bitcoin is not. Although Bitcoin can host smart contracts, and they have tried to do this recently with like ordinals and different things. And I know there's like Lightning Network being built on top, and that's cool, but there's not a lot of usage of it. Bitcoin's cool. I think the BlackRock thing, that's the thing too, is BlackRock filed for a spot ETF. There's been a ton of Ethereum futures contract ETFs, which is kind of the first step to getting a spot ETF. So if we get a futures ETF in ETH, that's a good sign for a spot ETF in the future. But I do think that the Bitcoin ETF is going to get passed, and that could be a massive bull. There's a scenario that plays out as well here where this is actually we're actually right at the precipice of something massive. And so there's a possibility that we're like here, kind of like that. And then we just go to like 15K and that's it. But I do think that if we could shake people out and we could really do one of these crazy things, then we would go higher. So we need a massive correction, not a massive. Well, let's say 30%. Okay, it's all I'm asking, 30 to 40%. Correction, 30 to 40%. That's all I want in Bitcoin and ETH. If we can get that done, this is why we ran so much in these. If you think about it, is because this was such a massive double. It was almost like a triple fake out, like bam, 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 liquidations to the moon, and then just up only, and then it was just, that's it. We can, I mean, if you think about Bitcoin, to me, it actually does look like more of the cycle that played out here. And it's kind of like in this like potential up only mode. So it's just kind of stair stepping. So if you look at it, like we're actually right in this range right there. It's something like that. it's pretty similar. And and then again, it sort of matches up and we go to like 600,000 or something. So I'm not saying necessarily, I mean, this is the thing too with Bitcoin is that the miners, they just dump eventually, they will dump and they will dump before the halving. Okay. So you could say, okay, oh, this is the correction, right? Like right before the halving. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's how these markets really work anymore. The miners will liquidate hard and because then they're going to be getting less rewards. So they really need to prepare and liquidate for the next cycle. Um, so yeah, I mean, you could potentially also say that we're in like, okay, so like we're here or something. Um, something kind of crazy like that, or we double bottom. I don't know, and then we go to 100K. I mean, that's people would be happy with that, I think. It'd be pretty weak, but I don't know. Um, I think it's probably a combination of the two things that we talked about. It's probably a combination of at some point another 30 to 40% correction to shake people out, and it's also a massive bull market that is reminiscent of this one. So it's kind of like this into this, something like that, because I do think this is going to be like one of the bigger bull runs of our lifetimes. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if you think if there is a spot ETF of Bitcoin, it's like a guarantee. None of this is financial advice, but what happened with gold, if we actually look, you can see, I can show you the GLD chart. So this is where the ETF was launched, or the spot ETF. And you can see, actually, let's do something crazy here. Yeah, I'm not sure I've done this yet. See if we can overlay this with Bitcoin. That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Okay, let's try that. Well, see, it doesn't really, kind of screwed that up, but so let's just say that, like, okay, hey, there's the ETF launches, yay, kind of goes sideways, and then it just goes parabolic. And this, yeah, see, I mean, it's a little bit too crazy for me, but I mean, I guess. I mean, so that's saying it gets to 5 million, I think. Um, I don't know, but I mean, it just kind of looks like, I mean, it just sort of looks like it makes sense, but no, I mean, I don't think it'll do that. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about like once this happens, see, like people are predicting massive drops in Ethereum relative to Bitcoin. Like let's look at the ETH BTC ratio, for example. To me, this is a massive wedge. Now, could we go down here? I don't know if we're going to go to like a 50% correction. That would be a little bit much. But I just think this is a massive accumulation. I mean, if we look at this, it actually looks like the silver chart, which is interesting. It's kind of a cup and handle, a little bit. Like if you look at it, like this is the cup, and then we're like forming the handle, and then that takes us to like crazy levels. I mean, every time I look at it, I'm like, how do I own any Bitcoin compared to Ethereum, and the gains that are to be had. And I just personally think that Ethereum is just doing so much more for crypto and for development and for I'm not saying that Bitcoin isn't valuable, because it is. It's very valuable. It's a good asset to own. It's going to moon. Um, it's essentially a guaranteed moon. But I'm more of a risk taker. I'm more of a gambler. I'm looking for outsized returns, and I'll just be honest about it. That's just who I am. I'm also I just gravitate more towards the Ethereum community, which is weird because I'm sort of a like conspiracy kind of guy with like the Bitcoin people who are like, oh, we're gonna, but the thing that the Bitcoin people is like so contradictory is that, you know, they like talk about how, oh, like prepare, right? Like get prepared because like it's the apocalypse and it's the end of the world or whatever, but like accumulate Bitcoin because of that. Like that just makes no sense to me. I want physical silver, for the end of the world, right? Like I want something like this or whatever. I would rather have, just a bunch of things than like physical Bitcoin. No one's going to accept that for meat and eggs, if the dollar actually does go to shit. Um, which is possible. But, I just don't see that. I see Bitcoin as a digital gold and that's it. And because of the spot ETF, people will buy it and it will moon. And it's simple, really. If you want just a simple 10x, not financial advice at all, but I'm just saying that that's really what Bitcoin is. If you just want a simple 10x, and that's where we're headed with that. I just think Ethereum is more bullish though. I just do. I just think there's more going on there's more developers. There's so many things that are being built on top, real technology. Coinbase has chosen Ethereum layer twos where it wants to build its own chain. Companies across the board have used NFTs on Ethereum. NFTs are massive. But switching gears a little bit, let's just look at equities for a sec. This is kind of what I'm seeing. If we look at the daily, let's see. It's very overstretched, okay? I mean, I've talked about this before, but if you look at the moving average ribbons, see how stretched that is, okay? And I talked about it back here. I said, look how not stretched they are, right? This is when we buy, right? And of course, I didn't follow my own advice and I capitulated back somewhere in there, which I should not have done at all. Really screwed this up, guys. I mean, I know I made videos at the perfect time. Hopefully, some of you guys did really well. I made videos in January talking about how we were breaking out, and we totally did. We retested and we mooned. But now what I'm seeing is a head and shoulders here. I could see us tagging back to around this level at 330, something like that. I could see it getting much worse. I could see this being a complacency rally for the ages. To be honest, there's a lot of macro forces that I don't like, but I think with AI, with technology advancement, we probably don't see that. We could see at the worst, maybe a double bottom to freak everyone out, where it actually went almost like close to being lower than this or something, and then like shook everyone out, and then we just like completely and utterly went to the moon. And I could see that. I hope that happens. I don't think it will, because too many people want it. Too many people want that action of like AI and tech and like the future and stuff. So massive black swan would have to happen, which I still think is possible. Let's look at rates. Yeah, rates have just gone nuts, but this is a huge reversal. Yeah, no, that's a reversal. So the TLT most likely has bottomed and just done a double bottom, and then it will rally big time. And I think stocks will crash when rates crash, because it will be a bad thing. It will be an economic thing. It will be the Fed screwing up. it'll be a lot of bad things, and potentially we could have a commodity rally within that time. Oil does look really good. I'm a little bit scared of it. I think it could be just tagging the 150 week up here and then rolling back over to double bottom. Usually in a commodity channel, let's draw it like that. So in a commodity channel, when you break the channel, usually you want to have a retest. Okay, so let's say we go up, we kind of come back down, and we retest that area there around 66. Okay, we retest that, and maybe we hit the 200 week again. We kind of bounce up, and then that's the signal to go higher. Okay, so and obviously this would be, you know, detrimental to the max degree to the stock market if oil did this. But you know, look what it did here, right? It kind of did the same thing. It was like a double top, almost. It wasn't really a double top, but this could be a double topping scenario, I think. But oil is a tough one because the economy, you know, if it goes into recession, people are going to sell the hell out of oil. So there's a potential for that as well. So a lot of things happening in macro, a lot of things happening in the world. Hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your weekend.